Barcelona, Catalonia for the second round of the GPVWC Academy Series. It is the second round today, though the first round we've broadcasted for you, and we've got 4 minutes left in this qualifying session. Joining me today is Menno Klont in the commentary box. Hello Menno, what are you expecting from today's race?
Well, yeah, I think we are waking from winter break, and we're now in Barcelona. What do I expect? Well, I think it's the second academy round this year. We had a round 2 weeks ago in Kilami in South Africa. So what do I expect from this round? I think if good and fair racing, new drivers that are trying their best to learn the platform, learn the game, and actually want to give us a show. So judging qualifying, it's quite close with I think at least the top 8, top 9. So I guess we will have 2 brilliant races. I guess academy races are also a bit known about the drama, but not too much, and I think we will have amazing races and amazing qualifying session, which is still on. So.
And well, I've raced in GPVWC Academy a couple of times myself back in 2020, and I can tell you that turn 1 is a complete and utter melee, and I'm expecting more of the same today.
Yeah.
Well, it's currently Matthias Harvig on pole position with a 1:40.4, 4 tenths up from Stoffmeal, and well, you can see Stoffmeal has just set a lap. We're on with David Yunt right now, a very experienced racer in GPVWC, heading through the brand new turn 10, and he reprofiled sector 3, 16 turns this circuit, 4.67 kilometres, which gives the drivers a lot of opportunities to both make up ground and of course lose a lot of ground very, very quickly. We're currently looking at Adam Rosenkrieg, and I probably butchered that name, but a little bit squirrely through the fast chicane there. Heading down through into sector 2. We'll have a wait to see what he sets across the line. He is green in both sectors. He's a second off of the pole time though. He just kind of cars has to absolutely throw it into this brand new right-hander. Well, you've had much opportunity to drive these cars yet this season.
Yeah, I did a few laps in them because I'm driving another series myself. And those cars, the academy cars, are quite interesting because they're, well, of course, they don't have enormous power, but they still have a lot of grip in corners and speed. So it's a fun car to drive, and yeah, because it's not the longest and the widest car. You can play with it in corners. You can go for dives. So it's a perfect starting single-seater in the league. So interesting car, and it shows that because I believe nearly our drivers are capable of being quite fast with it, and we've now got, I believe, the top 10 just within 1.3 seconds, so it's all good.
And so we do appreciate on the stream that the commentary is rather quiet, but so we're working on that one. No need to worry about that. As you can see, here is Senna going for a final lap. He's got across the line in the very nick of time, and oh dear, a bit of a spin. And that's his bid for pole position over, and that's another man's bid for pole position probably over. That's P10 currently of Jared. And he was purple in sector 1, but I don't think he's going to be purple in sector 2 with sliding quite like that. He's gone green, and he needs 3 attempts in the final sector to snatch pole position away at the death here. He's pretty clean through the new turn 10. Let's have a look as he goes through the rest of sector 3. Keeps the car pretty pinned to the apex. A little bit of a micro slide on the exit. No major dramas, really. And then just heading through the final chicane now, one of the more difficult corners on the circuit. And looks pretty clean through there as well. So let's see what he can produce as he crosses the line in the number 10. And it's going to be 141.3, so he is going to jump up to 8th position. But that's all he can hope for in this race. That little mistake really costing him, that's for certain.
Yeah, so that's interesting because now he places himself into the top 10, and that means that the top 10 is covered with more or less 1 second, with Matthias Harvey getting pole position, and he was around 4/10 quicker than the P2, so over 1 lap he showed what he is capable of, so that looks very good. So this was a qualifying system. Now we will get the results from the session. So we've got Matthias Havik in P1 with Senna Stoffmail in P2. And then we've got in P3, I will look, Maciej Hela with Dimitri Minic in P4, Lucas Thailand in P5, Pico Sokas in P6 with Noah Tromala in P7, Jared van der Weijden in P8, Tom Ely in P9 with Jack Warren in P10. Then we go outside of the top 10 with Dan Hutt in P11. David Jones, who knows him? Well, everybody, I think nearly everybody in the league knows David Jones. He starts in P12 with Jack Gillett in P13, Aiden Rosenzweig in P14, Seva Panashenko in P15, Ben Gillett in P16, with Chris Williamson in P17, William Fry in P18, with Eirik Farstein in P19 and Josh Diggles in P20.
And so once again we're trying to fix the audio levels for you viewers as we go to warm up, and we're going to have a bit of a discussion in the next 10 minutes or so before the race gets underway here about the changes to GPVWC for 2022. They're the most changes I can remember in GPVWC for a very long while, and it involves a bit of a spruce up to the career ladder. We can say goodbye to Formula Challenge, Super Cup, Super League lights, as they've all been given a bit of a facelift, with Formula Sprint 1, Formula Sprint 2 and Super Lights being the 3 new series that we've added, and I believe they all follow roughly the same formats as their predecessors. And I know you're on the admin team, Menno, and you've got any reasoning in particular behind that change?
Now I believe they just wanted, I think a bit of a new look for the series. I think it was needed, and Yeah, well, Formula Sprint 2 and Formula Sprint 1, yeah, those are the new series replacing, yeah, like you said, Formula Challenge and Super Cup. So, yeah, I think for the rest, not too many changes. We still have got the same format in both series from what we had last year, so it will all be, yeah, I think a bit the same, but yeah, new names and, yeah, working for the future, and that's what we want to do as a league. And yeah, we will start the regular season of Formula Sprint 2 and Formula Sprint 1 next week when we are at Imola. So it yeah, will be very interesting for that series. And yeah, well, going to Academy Series, most of the new people are starting here and then grow into FS2 or FS1 seats. So yeah, that's why I think it's very important to see the talents of today who will be in the higher series tomorrow. So it all has a big connection with each other. I think you would agree on that.
Yes, and looking at the Academy calendar, the class of 22 are going to have many a challenge. It's 18 rounds, the calendar this season, and of course the next round on the 7th of March is Istanbul in Turkey, and then a track that I haven't seen on this in this series, I don't believe, is Dubai. And well, Formula 3 cars around Dubai is something they've done in the real world for quite a while now. I don't think I've seen it in GPVWC.
Yeah, that's true. I think we had some testing at Dubai, but actually a race, I think that's quite a while ago. So yeah, I think it should be very good track to race on. I saw some real racing via stream, so yeah, I guess it could be very good. Let's hope it will be really good on that track.
And so we, after Dubai, I apologise there, I was just checking a couple of things on my screen. We go to Highlands in Australia, followed by Portimao, Poznan, and then Nagaru in France, which I actually haven't heard of before, that particular circuit. It's on the 16th of May, just before the spring break. But, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that circuit existed. So that's going to be an exciting round to commentate on.
Yeah, so yeah, that's very true. So yeah, we shall see how it goes on those tracks. But let's focus on this first. And
yes, this race definitely. There's 19 drivers, 30 were signed up, but clearly some people forgetting. In fact, we've got 20. Tom Parker has just joined the lobby.
But
So
I believe Tom Parker is not able to race. I'm pretty sure. So I think he was is just coming to I think to watch the race, but not actually to race himself. I think at least. But maybe he is. So we shall see.
But interesting will be the strategy in today's race. We see Academy always produces interesting switches of strategy, whether people go for the audacious zero stopper or they do in fact make a pit stop. I haven't had a chance to drive the cars myself, so I'm not too sure what the strategies will be this evening. I don't know if you could enlighten us.
Well, yeah, there are 2 races of 13 laps, so we will not have a mandatory pit stop or a pit stop needed. So I think we will see 2 super sprint races, if you can call it those. So yeah, it will be, I think, yeah, like you see it's a small marathon. Well, actually, that's a bit like illogical, but it's 13 lap super sprint. Yeah, so you will see directly the first few laps people want to make the moves because they know if you can make it stick, then it will be good. Then the second half of the race, you will see people struggle a little bit with tire wear, and then it will be yeah, for all of them working to be clean in the second half of the race, and then yeah, take the points, I want to say, or take the good results home. And then let's see what race 2 with the reversed grid of the top 10 can do. So.
And so that's something that, to my knowledge, that that hasn't been in Academy before, the 2 races with the reverse grid. But that's going to be particularly interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, we had it last year, so this is the second year we do this, and yeah, it's a very interesting format, because then you actually with the top 10 reverse, you will let the best guys actually work for it in race 2, so they need to do the overtakes as well. You cannot get pole and just drive away, be faster than the rest and get the win. No, second race you need to work for it as well, and make sure you're you're up for it overtaking wise, because yeah, a good driver can also do the overtaking and has a lot of race knowledge and yeah, race insights. That is what makes a good driver, and that's what we trying to get here.
And so, of course, it's going to be a jam-packed week for GPVWC over the next few days. We've got the Super Lights pre-season test tomorrow, then the Super League pre-season test on Thursday. To my knowledge, that final Super League pre-season test will be broadcast, so you can look forward to that one. It's always quite exciting to watch the pre-season testing and see drivers really have a go at the cars before they thrust under the pressure of the season. Of course, Super League being the huge sort of series that everyone in this Academy series aspires to get to, and of course they do have to go through the career ladder first, and well, that season gets underway on the 1st of March with FS1, and well, I think the commentators are going to have a mighty old challenge getting used to these new names over the season. As we've got about 2 minutes before we get underway here in the Academy series. Of course, there was no broadcast last weekend. Say weekend, Academy's a weekday series, so there was no broadcast last week, I should say. But of course, we're back now and raring to go as all the drivers get underway with their final preparations. Interesting enough, it looks like all of these race runs are about 1.5 seconds off of qualifying pace, which is a little bit unusual to see that kind of difference between qualifying pace and race pace. Usually you see more in the region of 8 tenths rather than a second and a half. So we'll have to see how that pans out. Perhaps tyre wear is a bit of a concern for the drivers heading into the 13-lap race. You wouldn't think it would be, but we have got a lot of sort of medium speed corners that will probably just absolutely kill some of the tyres if you take them too hotly.
Yeah, well, we're very close to the start of the first race. Currently getting a message from somebody to that we're still quite quiet, so we're still fixing the issues we have, and in the meanwhile we are watching. Let's see who we are watching now. We were watching Miku Sokas, so yeah, he is one of the more experienced guys in the league, but he's been out of the league for a few years, so let's see what he can do now he's back into the league. So yeah, I've got my eyes on him because I want to see how he does after those years out. But yeah, we've got plenty of talent. And now I will ask you a question, Tom. Who do you think who will win? Will it be our pole sitter who had a 4/10 advantage on the second place?
Well, I have to say, I'm a little bit annoyed you've got to ask me that question before I got to ask you that question. As I haven't really seen much of this grid, I have to say. I didn't follow much of Academy last season, and well, I have to say I am going to really take a wild hot take and say that David Yunt from the back of the grid is going to make something work in this race with all of his experience. And well, I'm just going to throw my hat into the ring and say it's going to be an incredible recovery drive over the 13 laps. But, I think it's going to be a really, really close race. And I think as long as drivers can get through turn 1, then the people who started on pole position might have the pace to get the win in this one. but it is all going to be about who can survive turn 1 and avoid that big pile-up that happens oh so often.
Yeah, especially at this track, it will be very interesting. We've got a very long run to turn 1, so if you've got a good start here, then you will be the one that can do things. And if you've got a bad start here, then you will take it all the way into up to turn 1. So it will be interesting. Very interesting.
We do probably take the opportunity to say hello to everyone in the live stream chat. I can see we've got a mega turnout this evening. And, well, it's my first GPVWC stream. And, well, the first time I'll be watching Academy and not racing. As I said, I did a few races a couple of years ago to not the most incredible successes, but very looking forward to getting my hands dirty with it this season, except in the comfort of the commentary box, as we are just now waiting for the race session to get underway. It'll be a formation lap followed by those 13 laps.
Yeah.
And, well, if previous years are anything to go by, it's going to be a very, very exciting race indeed.
Yeah, and then I now let you ask you the question. If you want me to ask me the question, if who I think who will win.
Well, who do you think's going to win, Menno?
Well, thanks. I thought you'd never ask. Well, I think Matthias was very impressive with that. Well, nearly 4/10 of a second he got pole with, but Senestov Mail looked very good in 2 weeks ago, and he had everything under control. So yeah, those two will be very good, but don't count out Lucas Dillon and Dimitri Minic. They look very good. And yeah, then I think a lot of drivers, the driver that starts in P3, Machahila, we've got loads of talented drivers, and it all depends on what will happen in the first few laps. If they can keep it clean, then it could be straightforward for Harvick or Stoffmail. If they can't, then others will definitely have a shot.
So it's Harvick on pole position on the left-hand side of your picture. It's the maroon-coloured car as the formation lap gets underway. And here we've got some wonderful music as we head through the grid order. It is Matthias Harvick on pole position from Senna Stoffmel. In third position is Makayej Heiler. And then it is Dimitri in fifth position. We've got Lucas Dillon from Maiko Suax in sixth position. Nayo Tumila in seventh. And then Jared in eighth. And then Tom Ellie, Jack Rod, Don Hunt, David Yunt in 12th. As we head through the page, it's Jack Gillett from Aidan Rosenweig, from Sven, I can't pronounce that name, Pazinenko. There we go, I got there in the end.
Seva Panasenko, I will help you out.
17th is Chris Williamson from William Fry, from Eric Carviston, Joss Diggles, Silver Hermets, and then Tom Parker, who won't be racing or taking the start this evening. And, well, I have to say, trying to read those names through the race view is very, very difficult, as my British is really coming out there, unable to pronounce any vaguely European style names.
Yeah, I can totally understand that some names are quite difficult to pronounce. So yeah, tension is rising for everybody in the paddock, for the people on the stream who are rooting for their mates, because everybody wants to win, everybody wants to do well, get a reverse grid position, or get a podium, or get a win, or a fastest lap even. They're all focused and they're all ready to, shine in this second Academy Series. Well, I wanted to say weekend, but of course it's the Monday evening. So yeah, we are up for 13 race laps. And yeah, I think we will have a lot of exciting battles. And we shall see who will win. So they're now lining up They're quite close. Matthias Harvik is now looking in as the Senna Stoffmail. Machihila also now locked in. I believe I now already see a car driving to the end of the pits. Is that Tom Parker? I believe it is.
It is. I can see him on the
And David Junt. So David Junt and Tom Parker are both starting from the pits. So that will be very interesting.
Here we go then. As he really got on with it, Harvick did, on that formation lap. He wasn't wasting any time.
And we're waiting for the lights now, yes. Okay, we've got lights, 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and we are go. And who's got the best start? Because it's a very long run, and I think it's a bit status quo, because Harvick is now still ahead of Stoffmail, but Stoffmail now got the slipstream, but needs to go around the outside. Harvick is covering the inside, goes around the outside. Senna is trying, but he can't do it, so it's still Harvick. And then Stoffmail, but it was a good try for him. So it's still Machihila now in P3, Lucas Thailand P4, Noah Tomala P5. But I think quite a good start, and you see all those drivers searching for the right position and the right way. Yeah.
No one caught out at turn 1, and now you can see Parker and Junt. Their green light has flown in the pit lane, and they're heading out and trying to rejoin the back of the field. There's a little bit of a melee heading through sector 2. You can see in the back of your picture there, P5 is under threat, but now looking forward is Tuckmela and Tumela, sorry, trying to make a move on 4th position. Of course, there is a seat in Formula Challenge up for grabs, and there we go, first time in the season that someone's got that wrong and making the move down into the new hairpin, and Tuimela gets that very, very wrong into the gravel and just outbroke himself there. I think now under pressure for P6 even. Tom on the outside goes for the move, and is he going to be able to outbrake him into the chicane? I think so. They're still side by side, no one giving each other an inch here, and there we go.
Even the first lap of this race, we had amazing battles, but we had, who was it? No, Tomala misbraking and nearly took out somebody. So the biggest gainer after the first lap is Lucas Thailand. I believe he jumped from P5 to P3, and he seems to be quite fast. He can follow number 1 and number 2 at the moment, so keep an eye out for the number 3 driver in the race, Lucas Thailand. And let's see, do we got other battles?
Dan Hunt under pressure now from behind, and it's going to be an audacious attack from Suax, and he's going to get through David Hunt back into P9, and then he's under pressure even more around the outside. Who's that? It's Tuimela, who obviously racing with a bit of fire in his belly after that mistake on lap 1. He's going to try and make a move around the outside. That's very, very opportunistic, and he's managed to get it quite safely. And Dan Hunt now under pressure even more from behind. That's Van der Weide, who is going to try and make the move down into the new hairpin. I don't think he's quite got the overspeed down the big long straight. Of course, there's a lot of slipstream in these cars, not a lot of dirty air, a little bit of a mistake actually from Dan ahead, and now it's going to be Van der Weide who's going to try and make the move. I think he's just got to tuck him behind for the time being though.
Yes, and hopefully we now can get a little bit of onboard of Senna Stoffmail, because he was quite close in the 3rd sector, but now I think already Matthias Havrik is already walking a bit away. But what are the top speeds? Yeah, and if I'm looking correctly, Senna Stoffmail, of course, maybe in the slipstream of Harvick, it has got a faster car on the straights, and this is very interesting for later in the race.
Here we go then. Here's the move for 13th in the race around the outside, and it's the 2 purple cars. And oh dear, there's a collision down at turn 1. That's Chris Williamson, who has had a little bit of contact trying to go for a move down the inside, and he's down into 19th, and you can see already there is Parker and Junt in the back of your picture there. both trying to catch up to the field and start the recovery drive, albeit a little bit late as Williamson tries to go down the inside. And I don't think that's going to work in a month of Sundays. Dan Hunt now trying to set his eyes forward after a particularly disappointing previous lap. He's going to have to find a lot of pace very quickly to get back up the order here, down in 10th position. And immediately he is following Tumela in this race.
So yeah, now the race is 2 laps old, and look at the whole race. We already had a lot of battles. We had a 3-wide battle on, I believe, on the start-finish straight, and that was very interesting. I believe we've got a battle for P19 with William Fry now overtaking Aiden Rosenzweig. But Aiden Rosenzweig is now overtook William Fry.
Yes, we've got
William
some
Fry.
blacks.
William Fry is spun and he is stationary into the well, I think end of sector 2, beginning of sector 3. Let's see, what will he do? Oh, he retires. So William Fry.
It's his. I apologise to cut you off, Menno, but we have got an overtake down in the back straight. We've got Dan Hunt, the pit straight, sorry, down into turn 1, tries to outbrake Tuamela, and I think they make contact actually. And oh dear, there's someone off in the background. Even more, he has to concede the position. And well, I think that was just 2 into 1. Doesn't quite go from Dan Hunt there, but he has got the position. And I don't think he'll be giving that back, because I don't think it was particularly his fault. Tuamela is going to try and avenge that contact. They're around the outside, and oh, it's almost Hamilton and Rosberg between these two. They're really fighting quite hard for one of the minor positions in this race, and it was almost 3 wide for a second there.
Yeah, but actually they didn't touch, so yeah, so that was very good driving from Dan and Notsumala. So they are now in P9, in P8. Of course, that's very interesting for race 2 coming up later. But let's look at the front of the field, and I believe after a few laps now Matthias Havik is checking out. He's saying like, this is nice, but now I'm going to...
It's Tuamela around the outside, trying to make the move on Dan Hunt once again, and this battle is not letting up just yet. And Tuamela gets the move pretty safely, and that was quite impressive driving indeed. Dan Hunt is going to try and make a little bit of a move down into the chicane. He's going to think better of it. You can't really get 2 cars through there. And who is that with prying eyes just at the back of this battle, trying to go for a move? It is Van der Weide, that green car in the back.
We've also got an overtake for P3, I think, coming. It's Mathieu Hilla and Lucas Thijlen, but no, Lucas Thijlen in brake is still ahead.
We're still on board with this battle, however, as Tuamela having to go defensive from Dan Hunt, who's on the outside now. Is he going to be able to brake later? You can see Tuamela just manages to edge him out in this one so far. So that is a valiant defence from Tuamela. And now is that Van der Weide in the background trying to make a move for P10 on Jack Warren. As I don't think he's going to be able to make it. So they are line of stern for the time being. Lap 5 of 13 in this Academy Round 2 race at Circuit Barcelona, Catalunya.
Yeah, I hope we can get an onboard from Jared, because I think he's got an amazing view with 3 cars battling for the positions in front of him, and he just sees all those cars there and thinks, oh, if somebody makes a mistake, I will be the one that is going to pass and go for it.
Here is that battle for 3rd position between Heiler and Thun. Thylin, I apologise. It's quite difficult to read these names on the pictures I'm watching, and having to quickly switch between windows to read them on race view. But here we go. My excuses aside, these two are still battling. Hunt and Tuamela.
He is very close. Hila is very close, and I think with the slipstream effect on this long start-finish straight, he maybe could pass him. But if Lucas is smart, he will defend the inside.
There's his Hunt once again trying to make the move. Dan Hutt, I apologise, there's no N in that name. Dan Hutt trying to make a move back down on the start-finish straight. He's going to be shown the outside once again. That didn't work for him last time out. Here we go, a wonderful on-board picture. He's got the overspeed. Is he going to be able to get the braking performance down into turn 1 around the outside? It's not the easiest place to make an overtake, and he's just going to be edged out again by Turo Mello, who just seems to have the confidence on the brakes in these cars, but perhaps not the momentum off of the corner. Is Dan Hutt still in the background, and you can see Turo Mello, a huge drift now down into turn 3. Is Dan Hutt going to be able to make the move once again around the outside? I don't think he's quite got the legs for this. He's going to try, and there's not quite the grip on that outside line, I don't think.
Look at Jack Warren. Look at Jack Warren. He's going around the outside like looking up at Dan. Oh, this is a great battle. And Jared van der Weijden is just like taking it easy. Just looks what's happening here and waiting for his moment to strike.
If this is the battle for P8, imagine what they would be like if it was a battle for the win in this race. Of course, there are positions up for grabs in the reverse grid race, and that's perhaps why Jack Bourne isn't really getting involved in these battles, as now we can see that is Warren actually down the inside. I apologise, it's Van der Weijden I was talking about, not going for a move in these battles, as Dan Hutt up down into P10, I apologise.
No. Yeah,
and Warren around the outside. Hutt does edge him out in the end. And wow, they're still battling around the outside. Warren not giving up any inch here. That's a little bit of a look into the chicane.
Yeah,
that's not quite going to work. And now, for reverse grid pole position, Van der Weijden.
We also got a move for P3. Yeah, we've got loads of battles. We are, getting a big treat because, yeah, Lucas Teglin is still in P3, but it doesn't seem to have the pure pace of the top runners, and now Maciej Hila and Dmitry Minic are looking to get that final podium position of him, and actually not even give him P4 but P5 if they could choose. And
Zvozicek is out of the race now.
Shame. That's a big shame.
And oh dear, that is a mistake. Is that Hyler who has let Dmitry through? I think with a bit of a mistake, Dmitry doesn't quite have the legs on the switchback after that mistake, and he's going to have to stay behind for the time being. You can see how much work they're having to put into the steering wheel, even on the simulator. The force feedback in these cars really causing them a few problems in this race. And well, Hyler, as we told in chat, that apparently tyre wear isn't particularly a factor in these races, and you can see just how loose the back ends are of these cars as Mink still tries to go for the move. And I think he's just going to have to stay behind and hope he can pick up the scraps of a battle ahead of him. This is, of course, the battle for third position in the race.
Yeah, and if you look at the leaders, Harvig is still leading, but Stoffmail is actually keeping him quite honest. I think they're matching each other's time, so it's 41.5 for Harvig, and actually Sander Stoffmail was a 10 faster this lap. Well, I mean, I've got the battle for P3. It's still Thailand leading now. Maciej Hila needs to go the long way. Can he do that? He goes allowed the long way, but he can brake later. So Lucas Thailand, he is a bit like, the way he drives is a bit more aggressive than Hila, and that's why he's still ahead. But how long can Lucas Thailand, how long can he still stay ahead? Because Maciej Hila looks quicker, and he seems to have it under control. He can't overtake for now, but he's got I think 5 laps left, so there is still quite a bit possible.
Yes, there's not long left in this race now. 13 laps, and it is definitely a sprint, not a marathon. And now, here we go, perhaps around the outside for Hyler. He has a bit of a think about it, and then decides very much against it. And you can see there, it is Dmitry Minic just having a little bit of a look, just trying to smell a podium here. If the two ahead of him who make a little bit of contact, and you could definitely see it happening if they continue racing as they have been. Down into the new turn 10, and clean as a whistle through there.
Yeah, but look, also look at Tom Ely. Tom Ely is actually closing on the 3rd, 4th, 5th place car. So if Lucas can stay ahead for a few more laps, I think Tom Ely can get even closer. So that would be very interesting.
We'll have to wait and see, as now you can see 5 laps remaining at the top of your screen. So it really is crunch time right now, as you can see.
But Dillon is very close. He goes for the inside. He goes.
And there's no room on the inside right there, but he's going to find the room, and that is a spectacular move right there from Heiler. And I have to say, that's one of the better moves I've seen. It wasn't going to be given the inside by Thylin, but decided I'm going to take the inside anyway. And sometimes you have to be forceful to make big moves in these races, and I think that's exactly how you're supposed to do that. And now, all of a sudden, Thylin's going to find himself under pressure from Minich behind. Has a bit of a think about it. Can't quite find the extra speed needed to get past here.
So very interesting moves, but can Lucas Thylin, can he get back on the start-finish straight? But no, I don't think so, because I already see the gain Machihila made the last few corners. So I think Machihila is already too far away. And is it then Dmitry Minich who's going to go for P4? We shall see.
It's holding on, sorry to cut you off there, Menno. Dan Hunt is holding on to P8 in this race. You can see this little train of cars still going strong, and it's going to be Tuamela. Has a little bit of a think about the move down into the new hairpin. Can't quite find the room, and perhaps he's just going to stay behind, ready for a last lap overtake here, I would suggest.
Very true, and let's see, P3. No, they're not close enough, and Lucas Thylin now was a second slower than Machihila, so he did 43.1, so it's just a full second on Machihila there.
There we go then. Tuamela is going to eat up all of the slipstream available to him. He's not quite going to have the room. 7 gears in the Academy cars this year, and well, he's going to take 4th gear through turn 1, try and stay on the toes of Dan Hutt, keep him honest, though perhaps you don't want to make the move in this race.
No, I agree. Maybe you want to just get this result and just stay in the top 10 and then wait for the reversed race 2. So I think that's could be a strategy. So if it ends like this, then Jack Warren will get the 10th position in the reverse grid position, and Jared van der Weide is just then missing out. So I think Jared will go for a bit of more risk to make sure that he can get that pole position spot. Well, I was on board with Jared van der Weide. He nearly lost it into the fast right-hander, but he still saved it. Well, I see a massive drop-off from Sanne Stoffmail. I believe Sanne Stoffmail made a huge mistake. I actually missed that. Did you see that, Tom? Did you see that, or you didn't? Well, I believe we've got some problems with Tom's microphone, so he can fix that, hopefully.
I'm back, as I apologise. The cable popped out for a second there. Is now Tuamela is going for the move on Dan Hutt. As for the drop-off, my race view was saying for a second it was 0.8 of a second. It's now gone back up to 4.1 seconds. So I'm not too sure what's going on there with that battle. It's now down to 3.6. So perhaps Harvick has caught up to some traffic. I'm not too sure how that's working out, as Dan Hutt remains in 8th position in this race, and Tuamela just can't quite find a way past.
Yeah, he just can't pass. That's because Dan, he might not be faster than Tomela, but he is actually placing his car right into the corner. So he actually knows that if I place my car right, it will be more difficult for Noah to actually go for the move. And that's what he did with success, I think, for most of the race. He made a few mistakes when Noah could pass him, but he then repassed him. So I think a fighting drive for Dan, and now currently we're P8.
2 laps to go, then it is still Harvick from Senna in this race, and I think Stoffmeal will perhaps prefer us to call him Senna, and David Hunt, someone who I said perhaps had the pace to win this race. He clearly has the pace to claw back through the field, starting from the pit lane. He's into 14th, and he's now got some unlucky prey ahead of him. That's Panasenko, as I believe I'm pronouncing that name right, surprisingly. And, well, Yunt, with 2 laps to go, is going to try and make a move down into turn 1. You would suggest, you can see just how delicate he is on the throttle. And, well, how fast he's going to be down this back straight. Let's have a look. Immediately going defensive is Panasenko, as Tom Parker's already got past. And look at the speed he's managed to pull out on these two. Is David Yunt going to be close enough down into turn 1? I don't think so. It would have to be very, very audacious. And, well, I think he thinks better of that. This is Jack Gillett going for the move around the outside. Is he going to have the pace? This is actually on his brother, Ben Gillett, as I'm assuming they're brothers. It seems to be very specific and unusual sort of surname, so I'm going to assume that they're 2 brothers.
Yeah.
And, well, no love lost there, that's for certain.
Could be father and son or nephews, you never know, but yeah, I think it could be brothers, and I think then, yeah, this is of the honor of the family, so yeah, I think this is a very exciting battle.
So this is the battle for who has to do the washing up this evening.
Yeah.
And, well, Jack Gillett is currently going to be the one who's doing the washing up, it appears. Not quite able to get the measure of his family member. And, well, we go back to the battle on the penultimate lap for 8th position with Turo Mellor.
You will hear that on the dinner table, I think, if they're brothers. So, yeah, I believe we're now close to the finish of race 1. So we now started lap 13 with Matthias Harvick. Yeah.
And it is going to be Turo Mellor's last opportunity.
Oh, Lucas Dillon nearly lost it. And did he lose the position? Yeah, now he will lose the position because Dmitry Minic is alongside him. He's next to him. But Lucas Dillon still has got the inside, and Dmitry just went full throttle around the outside, but he can't make it stick. But he smells a chance for P4. Will he go for it? Dmitry Minic, he knows that he can go for a move, but can he go for a decent enough move which actually can make it stick?
Is actually going to try and make the move on Dan Hutt, and I think Hutt just forced out wide a little bit, and is that going to be Turo Mellor through into 8th position on the final lap? Dan Hutt goes for the move back down the inside, and they're side by side. He's fought so valiantly to keep this position as Dan Hutt, and right now he is keeping the position. He remains under pressure down into the chicane, and they make contact.
Look at check one.
And you can see Turo Mellor just trying to make the move. And now who's that? Who's come into the equation here in this race? Turo Mellor still around the outside. Down into the new hairpin. Is he going to be able to make the move? They're going to go 3 wide with Jack Ward down the inside on the both of them. Takes 8th position but locks up into the gravel, and we can't quite see where he's gone. Turo Mellor still tries to make the move.
And we've got...
And they make more contacts as Harvick wins the race.
Harvick won with Stoffmeal P2.
Oh no. We don't know what's happened. Can we go back as Turo Mellor around the outside?
It's not. No, it's Zavala. Oh, they touch again, and it's down. It will be fast. He got the inside right.
It's going to be a drag race to the line.
Look at Jared.
The Van Divider tries to make the move.
No,
and
it's
now Turo Mellor close for the overtake down into turn 1. I think Menno might be having a seizure. And, well, it is going to be Dan Hutt who gets 8th position in the end there. And, well, David Yunt's going to try and make a move into 13th position. It's going to be a bit of a drag race to the line. And I think David Yunt isn't quite able to get that one.
Yeah.
What a finish, the race was.
Yeah, my inner fanboy came up, so I was like, this was amazing battle to the finish, and you just know how difficult that second to last corner is, and then they managed to, well, still go side by side, and that's this is what Academy Racing is about. You just see a lot of those guys. They might be new, but they know how to. Line up a car to do well, and I think Dan Hutt really showed that he's very experienced. He didn't have to have the speed to go anywhere near a podium, but he showed that he had the knowledge to read what his opponent was doing. If the opponent half passed, then he will just make the way that he could have a better exit. So very good for Dan Hut.
Let's go to the race results then, as it is Matthias Harvick who takes the win. A dominant drive from him, from Senna Stoffmeal, and then Makiej Heiler from Lucas Thylin, Dimitri Minich, Tom Ailey, Mikko Suakus, the last of the people with a quiet race, and then Dan Hut and Nayo Tuamela, 8th and 9th. They fought so valiantly for that 8th position. Then it was Jared van der Weide on race 2 pole. Jack Warren misses out on the reverse grid from Tom Parker, from Panasenko, from David Yunt, Chris Williamson, Ben Gillett, Jack Gillett, Eric Karpenstein, Silver Hermetz, and then Aidan Rosewick's William Fry and Josh Diggles unable to finish the race, I believe. And well, that's it for race 1. We'll be going to a short warm-up session, and then we'll actually do a break on the broadcast. You can see the two brothers hitting each other in the pit lane. So we'll be back momentarily for race 2 here in Academy round 2 at Barcelona. everybody, and welcome back to GPVWC Academy. We're here in Barcelona, and well, you just watched the first race, and well, the grid has been reversed at the top 10 anyway, and we're lining up and ready for the second race. We're just trying to get the session all sorted. As you can imagine, it takes a lot to run these races, and it can sometimes be quite difficult to get the session started straight away, but we're just getting that sorted, and we'll have a race momentarily. I am still joined, of course, by Menno, Klont, and well, Menno, all of that battling for 8th position that we just saw in the first race is now going to be given a lot higher stakes in the second race with the reverse grid. How do you think it's going to be?
Well, yeah, for race 2, of course, I think people will take a little bit more risk. I think in race 1, you're a bit more reserved, well, to at least not lose front wings and make it a very difficult evening. Now, for race 2, you know, it's the last race of the evening, so yeah, I think people will take more risk, and yeah, the faster guys need to take more risk to go to the field. So yeah.
Is we're just having a couple of issues with Tom Stevens, the broadcast director's game. So we'll do our best to try and get you some racing action in a moment. The formation lap is about to get underway. I can see on my live timing screen. So we've got no rush. We've got a couple of times. It is Chris Williamson on. That's interesting. It doesn't appear to be the top 10 that has been reversed.
No, it was the top 15 actually. That was my mistake because I said the top 10, but it's the top 15.
So that's on me as well. I apologise to the viewer for that one, as it is Chris Williamson. Tom is just going to restart his game, the other Tom that is, and well, we're going to have to entrust Menno with some radio commentary here, as I also can't hear the game.
Hopefully, yeah. Because I believe I also got a bit of issues with the game. Yeah, well, game is really cool if it's working, but if it isn't working, then it can give a bit of problems. So yeah, we've got Chris Williamson on pole position with David Junt in second position, with Seva Panashenko in third position, Tom Parker P4 with Jack Warren P5, Jared van der Weijden in P6 with Noah Tomala in P7, Dan Hutt in P8. That's actually the same position he finished in race 1, with Miku Suokas in P9, Tom Ely in P10, Dimitri Minic in P11, Maciej Hila P12, Senestov Mil P13. And then we've got a winner of race 1. That's Matthias Harvik in P14. Normally it would have been P15, but we lost Lucas Tellin, who not decided to go for, to start the second race. Then we've got Ben Gillett in P15, Jack Gillett in P16, Eric Karstein in P17, with Silver Pyramids in P18. So 18 drivers for this second race. And I'm not sure when we will have the footage back, because it seems to be a bit of a problem. Yeah, so
it's coming in a second. So
we expect to have it back, and, the broadcast, and then hopefully a great race like race 1.
I can see the drivers right now just forming through sector 3, getting back onto the grid. I can see that on my little map I've got on the race view. Of course, if you do want to have a look at the live timing yourself, you can of course go to race view, and I'm being told in my ear that it won't be long, and well, even if we do miss the race start, we'll have pictures for the rest of the 13 laps. And well, after such an intense first race, I think this second race is going to give us a lot to digest. And but one of the things I was eager to speak about is, actually, well, ignore me, is we've got you pictures, and more importantly, we've got you drivers forming onto the grid, and we're going to get you the race start here momentarily. Here we go then, as we're going to wait for the lights. It's going to be an eager wait as we go to 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And they're held for quite a while, but it is lights out, and away we go. And immediately a penalty for one of the Gillett brothers, with a bit of a jump start, I would imagine. But it is Chris Williamson who's going to lead us into turn 1. David Junt is going to have a bit of a go at him, though, under the brakes with that inside line. And he's going to roar into the lead, David Junt. That was brave on the brakes. And Chris Williamson, actually, has had a bit of a nightmare start. He's already down into 3rd, perhaps even 4th, as now Seva Pasinenko is going to try and make a move through it. Now even maybe down into 5th for Chris Williamson. What a terrible start for the pole sitter. They are all clean through turn 1, however, and now Chris trying to keep his foot in around the outside. He's down into 5th, and he's being absolutely swallowed up, is Chris Williamson. This is not the ideal start whatsoever, as they all file through the rest of sector 1. and you can see just behind the rest of the field, just filing through there. Everyone trying to jostle for position. Chris Williamson manages to finally settle down into 6th position. And who's that? Trying to make a move around the outside and now pressuring Chris himself. It is Dan Hutt, who fought so incredibly for 8th position in the last race, is now going to try and make a move on Chris Williamson down into the new hairpin. He's going to think better of it. And who's that with the absolute dive bomb into the back? I can't quite see who that is, but then Mikko Solax is trying to make a move around the outside. Oh, no, I think he's not Van der Wiede, sorry. He's Tom Ellie. He's trying to jostle for position down in 8th place. Ely, I've been told, is the pronunciation, and I apologise for that one.
Yep.
And, well, he's trying to make a move. So, Menno, I can hear you're eager to get a word in there. As I apologise, I was waffling for quite a bit in that lap.
Yeah,
Take it away.
I can still a bit of problems with my my game, so I need to do it with the footage from our cameraman. So yeah, after one lap, it is David Jones who's leading for Tom Parker. So a lot of experience at the front. Then Jared van der Weijden in P3, but now he is very close with Noah Tsumala and Seva Panashenko. So yeah, top 3, 4, 5 is already a big battle. Chris Williamson now is being demoted to P6. And then we have it, Dan Hutt again, who's battling really hard with him, with Chris Williamson for the better positions. And we've got Tom Ely there. Tom Ely has a look. Jack One has a look there. So very, very good battling and actually a lot of sensible driving at the moment. Oh, but we had
someone getting very squirrely in the background there as Chris Williamson continues to be under pressure, and that's who is that in the background who goes flying off. It's Mikko Suax, who is all the way around, and Chris Williamson now finding himself under some more pressure in this race once again from Tom Ely. And now he's from pressure from behind once more. That's Dan Hutt, I believe, trying to make a move down the inside. And oh dear, that's Stoffmere, who finished 2nd in the first race, getting very, very elbows out for 13th position, trying to make his way back up, I'd say, into the points, but I suppose there is no points in this championship. But bragging rights are all that can be afforded, as now that's a very, very brave move down into the chicane. And oh dear, they're round at the back there. That is, I'm trying to look on the race view, I can't quite read it on my screen, but that was a huge, huge spin, and Christmas coming early for a few of the drivers there. It is Dimitri Minic trying to make the move for 8th down into turn 1. He's going to pull try, and in fact he's going to make it 3 wide down the inside. Is that Dan Hunt who makes the move? And he does, up into 8th position. That was move of the season already from Dan Hunt. And well, I'm very impressed indeed.
That's indeed the move of the season for so far, but that was a very good move from Dan here.
Tom Parker now trying to make a move for the leaders. I apologise to cut you off there, Menno. There's so much going on. It's difficult to keep track of it all. But Tom Parker now just eating away at David Yunt's lead, and well, maybe Tom Parker can make something work in this race. These are the two drivers that started from the pit lane in race 1, got themselves into good positions for race 2, and well, are now dominating the field.
Yeah, very true, and they've got the best 2 laps, so 41.5 and a 41.7. The rest of the field.
There's no contact between Dan Hunt and Jack Warmth. I believe it's not Jack Warren, sorry. As you'll have to forgive me, I've got quite a difficult thing to read here, but it is Jack Warren up into 5th position. It wasn't Dan Hunt, sorry, I don't believe. It was in fact Pasinenko. And well, Jack Warren holds on to 5th for the moment. Tom Ely is going to try and have a move down into turn 1 with 10 laps remaining in this fight. And well, Jack Warren is going to find himself under a lot of pressure here. Tom Ely pulls to the inside. Is he going to be last of the late breakers? I think he is. and Jack Warren just can't quite hold a candle to him. He's going to hold it in as long as he can. He's squeezed onto the curb and has to cede P5. Here's now the battle for the lead. Tom Parker, brave on the brakes, down the inside into turn 3, and he makes that move absolutely spectacularly. David Yunt is onto the grass, and Tom Parker makes the move into the lead of the race. That was textbook.
Yeah, we've got loads of battling because now we've got Dmitry Minic. Also, yeah, looking at passing, I believe Dan Hurt, and yeah, Silver Pyramids, who, well, was actually retiring pretty early in race 1, is actually now, yeah, well, in a good position for race 2. So they're all looking. So even for P8, we've got an amazing battle. But the top 3 is still Van der Weijden, Yunt and Parker.
Minic finds himself under a little bit of pressure here, and he's going to try and go for the switch back, and I think he's got position 9 back off of Silver Primits. And, well, they're going to battle side by side for pretty much the extent of Sector 3. Down into the chicane, the 2 chicanes, and it's still going to be Minic who's going to try and pressure Primits, and they make a little bit of contact there. And, well, Minic managed to get through in the end. And, well, now Senna Stoffme is going to try and have a move. And, well, David Yunt still trying to pressure Tom Parker, who makes a little bit of a mistake into turn 1. Is this going to give David Yunt a golden opportunity down into turn 2? And I think perhaps he might be able to give Tom Parker a little bit of his own medicine. He's very far back from move, though.
Not yet.
I think he just lets his maturity get the better of him there, and perhaps for the better, David Yunt.
Well, we have, let's see, no, Tomala, sorry, who tries to get closer to Jared van der Weijden, but Jared van der Weijden still has got a second on Noah Tomala, and I think Jared will be, well, really happy with if he can get that podium position in this race. For now he has it, but yeah, we still got quite a few laps to go.
There you saw Dan Hunt trying to make a move on Pasinenko. He just got overtaken down in Sector 1 and now heading through Sector 2. Is he going to be able to make a move around the outside into the new hairpin? In fact, the better of these 3 is going to be that orange car you can see right there. I can't quite tell who that is, but he's going to get up into 9th. Dan Hunt isn't going, it's going to be Minic, sorry, yep. And Dan Hunt going to try and hang it around the outside. Doesn't quite have the legs for that one. And it is Minic who gets the better of that situation. Right there, and Dan Hunt tries to go for the move. It wasn't really on, and they kind of dominoed up there. And now he's going to try and have a move. Not quite going to work. So Dan Hunt has to settle for P9 for the time being.
Which is, of course, still very good racing. I think Dan Hunt really shows where he's made of today, and yeah, he just amazing job to, yeah, at least be in all those.
Green wide. Down into turn 1 as Dan Hunt tries to go for the move on Minic and perhaps on P7 as well, and oh no, not quite going to work out for him. And now it's a huge gaggle of cars here that covers all the way the span from P7 to I think P11 there, as now Minic tries to go around the outside down into what I'm calling turn 3. I think it might be actually turn 4 on the track map, and well, Minic gets past into 7th, a little bit squirrely on the exit, and that is in fact going to let all of these other cars try and go for a move, and very nasty indeed as Dan Hunt is round as well. And well, Minic was just forced out wide there a little bit, got a bit squirrely, and then I think we all saw that coming almost in slow motion right there.
It was a big shame because yeah, he lost it, and then yeah, it was inevitable he would hit somebody, and he took down with him. So yeah, that's a big shame, and I think yeah, Dan's car is quite damaged now. I just saw him driving through the grass once more. So yeah, it's a shame that it actually happened.
It is a positive that is our only major real incident of the night, and I suppose there was no one really at fault there. Just one of those things that can happen in racing sometimes. as now this is Pasanenko trying to make the most of his current situation. It's Dan Hutt trying to fight back, makes a move on Chris Williamson around the outside into the chicane, and that is very, very good fighting from Dan Hutt, who really will feel he's been a little bit hard done by there. I don't think there was much he can do. And is that Pasanenko without a front wing?
Yes, that is Pasanenko without a front wing, so he needs to pit.
Yes, well, I think in the rules he has to, as now Chris Williamson tries to make his first overtake of the evening, as he'll feel bitterly disappointed after being on pole position all the way down in 13th. He's really been swallowed up by the crowd. And look at how they're going to Constantina up, as there's absolutely zero downforce from Pasanenko, who really ought to pit soon. And now Chris Williamson is going to be squeezed all the way to the inside by Dan Hutt, and that's going to allow Harvick, race winner in the first race, to get up to P11. And now I think Dan Hutt is going to have to do some mighty defending to keep
we got a spinner,
charging
we got
Harvick.
a spinner, and Noah Tsumala spun. I believe he lost it. What was it? Yeah, one of those corners, and yeah. I already saw him facing the wall, so he needed to reverse, and he actually did that. But that's, I believe, he gave P5 away with that, and which is a big shame. But still, it's for him still the steep learning curve he's in, and this is his second round of academy driving. So yeah, it's still going pretty well. But yeah, this mistake is of course one you don't want to make. You want to make this one in practice and not actually in the race. But he didn't lose too much. Only, I would say, 2 positions in around 8 to 9 seconds.
David Junt thinks about a move down into turn 1, isn't going to quite make it on Tom Parker. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Menno, but I believe Tom Parker and David Junt have both raced in what was formerly known as Super Cup. And,
yes, they both drove in that, and I believe they also both drove in the Super League quite a long time ago. So yeah, they are well known in the league and very, very, very experienced. So they know, I think, everything or nearly everything within the league, and also with driving in these types of cars. Yeah, this is what they know, what they can do, and yeah.
Dan Hutt around the outside of Matthias Harvick. In fact, sorry, that was Harvick down the inside of Dan Hutt. Hutt was the defending party there, and well, Harvick positions his car absolutely perfectly on the defence right there, and absolutely quells a counter-attack from Dan Hutt almost immediately. And well, we've got 6 laps to go in this one, or 5.5 laps really. And perhaps Dan Hutt will feel like he can just stick on the back of Harvick and perhaps make a move. Oh no, not like that, he can't. A little bit of an excursion onto the gravel. And no huge dramas, however, is now David Junt trying to make a move on Tom Parker. This is the battle for the lead of the race, as someone has got a penalty. I can't quite see who that was. I think it's Pasanenko. As here we go, David Junt trying to make a move. Perhaps he's a little bit closer than he was on the last lap. Is he going to make a move into turn 1? And no, he's willing to just push Tom Parker through this race. David Junt. And I wonder if they're perhaps trying to play a few games here.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting for a few in a few laps. I think will when he's got another chance. If he gets another chance, he will then go for it. Well,
This
I see
is
a big
Tuamela.
battle with Tumala and Stoffmill. Oh,
And oh no, is that round in the back? I think that was Hyler.
Hila, yeah.
And oh dear, does well to recover it. And it's going to have to weigh the agonising weight as you see cars fly past you. And, well, you just significantly hope that neither of them make the mistake that you've just made. David Junt still hounding Tom Parker, trying to make a move in the last 4.5 laps of this race. Is he going to make a move down into the hairpin? No, he stays behind. Brakes very early, David Junt. I think he's just toying with Tom Parker, putting the pressure on him and hoping that he can force Tom Parker into a mistake, which is perhaps the easy way around.
Yeah, while the silent assassin in this race is Tom Ely. You don't hear him, but he already is up P4, and well, he is currently more or less matching the leader's pace. So Tom Ely is doing an absolute fine job in this race too, and he's only 1.5 seconds away from the podium position of Jared. So if I were Jared, I would give it all now, because if Tom Ely gets close, then yeah, it will be hard to defend, because yeah, Tom Ely has got loads of recent sim racing experience, so I think he will hunt that last podium position, and yeah, he would love to have it.
David Junt faster than Tom Parker in this race, and he's still toying with his Prix. And well, I think it might be a last lap overtake from David Junt here. I think he's playing the games, trying to make sure that he doesn't give any slipstream heading into the final lap. And I'd be very surprised if we were just going to let Tom Parker win this race. It's only Academy. It's not like there's any strategical gain in the championship, as Parker makes a little bit of a mistake. And you can see there, David Junt not capitalising on that mistake confirms that he is playing a few games here. And, well, I wonder if either of these are in the career ladder this season.
Yeah, well,
it's perhaps a bit of a test for them.
Yeah, with David Junt, it looks like he's playing with his prey, which is Tom Parker. But I believe that Tom Parker, yeah, might still have something left. And I can tell you, I know myself, Tom Parker is very difficult to overtake. So you need to do a very good job.
Junt.
Oh.
Oh,
go for it, and
that's
now
what happens when you play with fire. You get burnt, and David Junt just careers into the back of Tom Parker all through his own doing. And well, now he's got a lot of work to do in the final 4 laps of this race. Final 3 laps even, as the overlay was a little bit behind there.
So that's yeah, it was very close. Maybe he was lining up for actually going for a move, and he wanted to have a good exit into the out of the final corner, and then he had a mistake. But yeah, it's a shame. But yeah, we still have got a few laps, but I fear for the win. It might not be happening for David now. I think it's only a few laps to go, so I think Tom Parker now is close to sealing this victory.
Here is Senna Stoffmai trying to have his eyes forward. He's going to try and make a move on to O'Mella eventually. He's got to get a move on. Only 2.5 laps to go in this race. And, well, right now, they seem to be in a little bit of a train, not really making any moves on each other at this stage. And, well, Junt, I can tell you, is already faster than Tom Parker. Whether he's going to make up the 1.5 seconds in the next 2.5 laps, I'm not too sure. Of course, he's less than 2.5 laps for those two who are further around the track than the battle we're watching currently. And, well, I'm looking further back through the field. I think it might have just calmed down a little bit at this stage. Tom Ely is going to try and put his eyes forward as well in the last 2 laps of this race and get that hard-earned podium that I'd say he probably deserves. And, well, he's quite close already, actually, Ely, on Van der Weide, who I'd say also probably deserves a podium in this race. They've both been really, really quiet. And now it's going to be Tom Ely stays in the slipstream, tries to just get that last little bit of time that he needs to get past Van der Weide. And, well, it's going to have to wait till the final lap.
Yeah, but they're both quite experienced, but yeah, the banana car of Tom Ely seems to have a bit of overspeed. So I think, yeah, he waits for the last lap, because I think the car has got more straight line speed, and then he might, yeah, take the final position or final podium position away from Jared van der Weide, but Jared will fight for it with everything he has, and yeah, he should.
David Junt now 5/10 of a second behind Tom Parker. So I think perhaps Parker has either made a mistake, or he's actually letting the show get to him a little bit and is wanting that final lap overtake, or wanting that final lap battle with Junt. As Tom Parker not quite fast enough through the corners. So I wonder if he's going to be able to make a move on this final straight as we head into the final lap and a third, really. Here is Junt on the back of Tom Parker. And, well, if there is no games from Tom Parker here, and this is pure pace from David Young, that is mightily impressive indeed. And, well, his name rings a bell from endurance as he makes a little bit of a mistake, and that perhaps might cost him as they head into the final lap of the race, the final lap of the evening. And David Young just a little bit too far back, I would feel. Someone who isn't too far back is Tom Ely on Jared van der Weide down into turn one. He's going to pull to try and make the move down the inside. There's going to be almost no defence from van der Weide, who tries to hang it around the outside, and he's doing a good job, and he's off, and then Tom Ely just tries to hang it around, and he manages to just make the move. A little bit of a mistake from van der Weide there, who's now got Jack Warren to worry about. David Young still behind Tom Parker, who's going to try and defend for his life here, and these two are just having a bit of fun. You have to feel, is David Young going to try and make an audacious move down into one of the deceptive hairpin corners on this circuit? I don't think he is. The yellow in sector 1. I'm not too sure what that is. We'll stay on board with this battle though, as David Young still remains behind Tom Parker, and perhaps that mistake earlier has really cost him. And, well, this is the final overtaking opportunity, really. Is David Young going to be able to make the move? Tom Parker goes as defensive as possible to the outside of the new turn 10. A hairpin around the outside. David Young almost had the legs there. Not quite down the inside. Tom Parker just edges him out.
He will go for it.
So slightly.
He will go for it.
David Young is going to go for this. He is down into the chicane. He thinks better of it. Better not take them both out, as he would be under the cosh a little bit with the stewards for that one.
To finish? No, Tom has this.
Yes, Tom definitely has this. Now, Tom Parker can smile a little bit as he's fought off the most mighty attack of the season, and David Young finishes in second position. Tom Ely gets a very hard fought third position from van der Weide, who just holds on to fourth. And now this is a battle for sixth, the final corner of the race. And is it going to be Silver Primats who tries to make a move? It's going to be a drag race to the line. Primats does get the position, and I apologise there. I had a bit of a frog in my throat as Dan Hutt comes home in 10th position. And, well, I think I might need to lie down after that one. That was an incredible race. Academy does it again.
It was a great race with Tom Parker victorious, but I think David Jones was one of the guys that showed, well, extreme good pace for at least for the second race. Tom Ely, a very good drive into P3, and Jared van der Weide also very good drive to P4. Shame he couldn't get that final podium position, but I think he will still be quite happy with it. And Jack Warren, pretty decent, only 5.5 seconds behind the race winner, so Jack Warren can be very happy. Noah Tsumala, a decent drive to P6 with silver permits after DNFing in race 1, now P7 in race 2. Senna Softmail and Matthias Harvik, the numbers 1 and 2 from race 1, had it a bit more difficult, and they are P8 and P9 with Dan in P10. And the rest is for you, Tom.
Yep, so here we are, race results then. It is Tom Parker who takes the victory in this one from David Young. From Tom Ely, who made a dramatic overtake on the final lap for third position. Jared van der Weide will feel like he's thrown that away a little bit with a mistake down at turn 1. Then it's Jack Warren in 5th position. From Noah Tuomela, who himself had a bit of a spin, did quite well to recover back up to 6th position. Silver Premits in 7th from Senna Stoffmel, from Matthias Harvik. So those two cut through the field together with Dan Hunt in 10th. And then Chris Williamson, pole sitter, had a very disappointing day down in 11th. And then Makaya Heiler in 12th. And then it is Dmitry Minich from Jack Gillett from Eric. I'm trying to see that name actually. I can't quite read that on there. Karsten. And then Sriya Pasinenko from Ben Gillett from Mikko Suaks. And that is, in fact, the grid. We lost 2 in the warm-up session. I think someone had a few game issues actually, but those are your results. And what a race we had there. That was one of the more exciting races I've had the pleasure to commentate on. And I think a welcome introduction actually to GPVWC commentary for myself.
Yeah, and I believe we've got some drivers who want to be interviewed. So let's drag them in, and let's first drag in our winner of race 2. It's Tom Parker. So we've got another Tom in here. Now it's getting confused with it. Tom Parker, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
So, win in race 2. Yeah, how do you feel with all of this? Can you tell us? Can you describe your emotions and the whole race?
It's just funny, isn't it? It's just funny. Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, David gave me a good race, didn't he? That was I got past him. He made a slight mistake. I got past him on the straight, and then I made my gears too long, so he kept with me a bit more than I thought he would. But other than that, yeah, it was all right. It was just nice to get some of the racecraft, the rust off after a long winter. So it's nice to get some rust off the old battling side of it. And yeah, it sort of went well. It's made a few mistakes here and there, as you probably saw, but yeah, it's good to get it out of the way and just look forward to the season.
Yeah, so I believe you were planning to drive in one of the higher series this season, or is nothing confirmed on that yet?
Yeah, I've already had our GPV reporter already come to me about my drive. So yeah, I'm driving in Formula Sprint 1 with PB this year with Mike.
Okay.
With Mr. Bell. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I've not done too much practice in the car yet. I've had other commitments and stuff, but yeah, it's going to be a fun season.
Yeah,
I hope.
I guess that will be a very good season then for you. So yeah, great battle with David. Were you afraid that he would have some overspeed and actually go for the move on you?
I did at the end. Yeah, he was playing it quite cool. We were just focusing on keeping Jared and Tom Ely behind us. And then once we knew he made a mistake at the final chicane, avoiding me actually, who had made a mistake, and then I got a bit of the way, 3 laps to go, and then I made a mistake. He got back up, and then he tried that move on the outside of 10, and nearly made a stick to be fair to him. But I was confident enough, and I've battled him for many years. I've been battling David for nearly 15 years. I know how to deal with him. He knows that.
So in the end, a very, very good race. So yeah, thanks that you were here, and also for the interview, and hopefully we'll see much more fireworks from you this year.
Fingers crossed. Shout out Formula Blue, following me and Mike Bell and our karting series this year. We love it. See you later. Bye.
Bye. So yeah, that was definitely a Tom Parker interview. So yeah, that's what we like from Tom Parker. So I believe you've got one more interview, and I leave that one for you, Tom.
And I do apologise to the viewer there, because I think my clicking got picked up there. I thought it wasn't going to be, but I looked up and it was. But anyway, we have got David Junt with us. And David, perhaps a little bit of practice heading into the season in Academy. And, well, clearly looks like quite a fun race for you. And just not quite able to to get the win there.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I'm free aging here, so I can't do Academy. But I also wanted to test out the car, and I haven't driven it before today, so I had to get used to it. And I noticed you can drive the car, of course, but if you want to get to the limits, it's getting a bit difficult, and the feeling, the car, the driving, the handling has a bit changed, so it's a bit more difficult to drive, but it's still very fun, very much fun. But I think some things with the gearing that I didn't get used to, and in race 1 it was wrong, so I didn't get much out of it. But it was a good fight with Tom in the second race, and before I was ahead, I didn't get away, and when I was behind him, I was a bit quicker, but in the end it was denied by just touching the back end of his car, and then I also got the Solstice Cup, so I ran out of time to make a good move, and the last one was just a bit too difficult to pull off, so second place is a nice result, and yeah, I gotta say it was very much fun there.
And so, what are your plans for the season ahead? Are you well, the year ahead, I suppose, not necessarily exclusively GPVWC, but if you, I think you said you're a free agent, so I assume no seat lined up, but are you looking for a seat?
It's a bit difficult to say. I'm like, in the last year also I preferred like the lower cars because I don't know. I'm one like a guy like me of the TCS should be like driving the top cars, but I'm not really fond of them that much that like, oh, I have to drive them, I want to drive them. So I'm not really thinking about that. So it would be like more like the last season where I was like at times maybe Formula Challenge, which is now FS2, and FS1 with Super Cup, which I just can't stop calling it like that. But I prefer those cars, even though as I said, all cars and all divisions have changed the handling a bit, and I think like the balance with the wings has changed quite a bit. So it's different to feel like the I don't know, the medium, the balanced car between like under oversteer. So it's a bit more challenging. Although I did drive in a test session for Vale, and I noticed that the FS1 car is also kind of nice to drive too. Like, yeah, I kind of like it again, like last year. So maybe, although I'm like at the moment just there sitting there and watching like what how's the grid's gonna be like. I'm not really sure what to do. Like maybe as like for like one round experienced co-commentator to stream the cars, but otherwise I'm just there kind of looking at maybe, you know, at some point maybe an emergency or something else coming up, but I haven't really made plans yet, although there is like one big emergency plan that I could do for somebody that is in dire need, so I'm not sure yet. So I keep waiting until like before the season, so can't be sure yet. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much, David, and well, commiserations for today. It looked like a very fun race, regardless. And well, I guess we'll see you at some point during the season.
Yeah, well, I hope so. But thanks. See ya.
Thank you. And well, I think that just about does it as well for the stream. So, any closing thoughts, Menno, before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, well, it was a very interesting stream. Of course, we had a bit of problems at the beginning, and later it was better. I think we had some very interesting battles here at Spain. We had, it was much closer than I actually anticipated. We had great battles. Of course, a bit of drama, but yeah, all those drivers are searching for the limit. And in this series, of course, you will see people going over the limit, and then yeah, it goes wrong. So all in all, I think. Yeah, a good mix of drama and good racing, and yeah, I'm happy with. I think everybody was on the podium, but even people who didn't score a podium showed themselves. I would say Jared van der Weijden or Lucas Dillon. I believe those two already showed that they are more than capable of driving well, and Matthias Havik and Sander Stoffmeel did a very decent job and gave us a bit of a show in race one, and loads of new drivers with enough potential going forward. So I really hope they will be there in 2 weeks time or in future rounds. So in 2 weeks time, I believe we are going to Istanbul. So yeah, I will look very much forward to that round. I really like the Turkish track, and yeah, hopefully yeah, it will be grippier than when F1 was there a few years ago. So I expect with these type of cars we will have good races there as well, and let's see how our grid will be there then at that round. But we've got more to do with GPV in the upcoming weeks. So I believe on Thursday we will have a broadcast of the final Super League pre-season test. That's not 100% confirmed, I believe, but I believe if everything is alright, we will have a stream for that. Then next week, the 1st of March, we will start with the first round of the Formula Sprint 2 championship at Imola, with 2 Also, I think very tense races, and then 2 days later we will be there at Imola for the Formula Sprint 1. So enough to look forward to, and a week later we will have the Super Light and the Super League. So yeah, we will not get bored, I think, the next couple of weeks. Tom, anything to add as a final thing is in this stream?
Well, I can't wait for turn 8 in these cars. It's going to be very exciting. But other than that, I think I can bid you all farewell. So me and Menno, both thank you all very much for watching. And we'll see you all later. Good night.
Good night.